Have you ever felt like you're playing a game where someone else already wrote the rules, and those rules were designed for you to lose? You work hard, you follow the rules, but somehow you feel like you're running in place, while a small group of others seems to advance with ease. This is not a paranoid fantasy. Two Nobel Prize-winning economists, Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, spent 15 years proving that this feeling is real. They uncovered an alarming truth. Poverty is not just a lack of money. It is a series of psychological traps systematically embedded in modern society. These traps are not random. They are almost perfectly designed to keep you right where you are. In this video, we will expose the 5 most dangerous traps. These aren't just theories. They are invisible forces shaping your financial destiny every day. Once you can see them, you gain the power to disable them. And the first trap is the most dangerous because it wears the disguise of a small reward: the trash can trap. When your brain is under constant financial stress, a psychological phenomenon called cognitive scarcity occurs. Your cognitive bandwidth narrows. Your ability to think long-term becomes almost paralyzed. In this state, your brain craves only one thing: an instant hit of dopamine, a small pleasure to escape reality. And this is where the trap springs. Manufacturers are masters at exploiting this mental state. They create buy now, pay later services that remove the immediate pain of payment and turn an impulsive purchase into a frictionless, thoughtless action. This trap isn't just for the poor. Consider a middle-class office worker. He earns a decent salary but is always stuck in a cycle of credit card debt. After a stressful week, he rewards himself with a new pair of designer sneakers. The pleasure lasts a few hours, but the debt lasts for months, even years. This is the trash can trap. You trade long-term financial freedom for temporary pleasures that will soon end up in the trash, and your financial future is thrown away with them. How do you escape this trap? 1. Apply the 24-hour rule. Before buying any non-essential item over $50, force yourself to wait 24 hours. The initial impulse will fade. 2. Automate your future. Set up an automatic transfer to your savings and investment account the moment you get paid. Build a wall between yourself and your own bad financial decisions. 3. Redesign your environment. Unsubscribe from marketing emails. Unfollow influencer accounts that trigger spending. Use cash for discretionary spending to feel the pain of money leaving your hand. The pleasure trap. The sociologist Tristan Harris, a former Google design ethicist, called the smartphone a slot machine in your pocket. Social media apps are not designed to help you connect. They are designed by behavioral psychologists to maximize the time you spend on them. They use a mechanism called variable rewards, the same mechanism that makes gambling so addictive. Every time you pull down to refresh, you don't know what you'll get. That uncertainty creates an endless dopamine loop. This trap works by stealing your most valuable asset, your focus. Consider 2 students studying for an important exam. Student A studies with their phone right next to them. They are interrupted every 10 minutes by a notification. Student B uses the Pomodoro technique. They put their phone in another room and do focused, deep work for 25 minutes, followed by a 5-minute break. The result? Student B not only gets a better grade, but does it in less time. They protected their asset. The architects of the digital economy know this. They are selling you distraction in exchange for their own wealth. How do you escape this trap? 1. Practice digital minimalism. Turn your phone into a tool, not a toy. Delete useless apps. Turn off all notifications. 2. Schedule boredom. Create blocks of time in your day where you do nothing. No phone, no TV. Let your brain rest and think. 3. Protect your golden hours. Identify the 2 to 3 hours each day when you are most productive and protect that time fiercely. The rat race trap. The Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of results come from 20% of the effort. The rat race trap is the trap of spending 100% of your time on the 80% of tasks that only produce 20% of the results. You are busy, but not effective. Consider the story of a small business owner. Owner A spends all day answering emails, packing orders, and handling minor issues. Owner B hires a virtual assistant for a few dollars an hour to handle those 80% of operational tasks. He frees up his time to focus on the 20% that matters most, negotiating with new suppliers and building a marketing strategy. After a year, Owner A's business is stagnant. Owner B's business has tripled in seat. This trap is especially dangerous because society glorifies busyness. "I'm so busy" has become a status symbol. But busyness is not the goal. Results are the goal. How do you escape this trap? 1. Conduct a weekly 80-20 analysis. At the end of each week, ask, what 20% of my activities produced 80% of my positive results? 2. Learn to say no. Say no to unnecessary meetings and unimportant projects. Every time you say no to a low-impact task, you are saying yes to a high-impact one. 3. Schedule strategic thinking time. Block out 1 hour a week, turn off all devices, and just think about the big picture. The Shawshank Trap. The philosopher Nassim Taleb coined the term anti-fragility. Something that is fragile breaks under stress. Something that is resilient withstands stress. But something that is anti-fragile gets stronger from stress. The Shawshank Trap is the trap of building a fragile life by staying in your comfort zone for too long. In the film The Shawshank Redemption, the character Brooks was stable in prison, and that stability destroyed his ability to adapt. When he was freed, he became fragile and shattered under the shock of change. A modern example is the company Blockbuster. They dominated the video rental industry. When a small startup named Netflix offered to partner with them, Blockbuster refused. The shock of streaming technology arrived, and Blockbuster, the fragile giant, shattered. Your comfort zone is the source of your fragility. How do you escape this trap? 1. Build a T-shaped skill set. Have deep expertise in one area and broad knowledge in many others. This makes you adaptable. 2. Practice intentional discomfort. Every day, do one small thing that scares you a little. This builds your tolerance for uncertainty. 3. Adopt a beginner's mindset. Always be curious and ready to learn, even in areas where you think you're an expert. The health trap. This is the most insidious trap of all. It operates on a trade that seems logical at first, sacrificing long-term health for short-term savings. When faced with financial pressure, people often cut what they consider luxuries: quality food, a full night's sleep, or a routine doctor's visit. They choose cheap, processed food instead of cooking. They work 2 or 3 jobs and sleep 4 hours a night. They ignore a small toothache because they don't want to pay the dentist. In the short term, they save a little money. But in the long term, they are borrowing from their most valuable asset, their body, at an extortionate interest rate. A Harvard University study showed that medical costs are the #1 cause of personal bankruptcy in the United States. A small, ignored toothache can become an infection that costs thousands to treat. Years of poor nutrition and lack of sleep lead to chronic diseases with astronomical treatment costs. The wealthy understand that health is not an expense. It is an investment. It is the foundation for everything else. You cannot work productively, think creatively, or enjoy your success if you don't have your health and energy. How do you escape this trap? 1. Treat sleep as a job. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, the same way you would prioritize an important meeting. Sleep deprivation impairs your cognitive performance as much as being drunk. 2. Invest in real food. You don't need to eat expensive organic food. Just focus on cooking simple meals from fresh, unprocessed ingredients. The long-term cost is far lower than a lifetime of fast food and poor health. 3. Move for free. You don't need a gym membership. Walking 30 minutes a day is one of the best investments you can make for your physical and mental health. The trash can trap, the pleasure trap, the rat race, the Shawshank Trap, and the health trap. These 5 invisible prisons have one thing in common. They are most effective when you are living on autopilot. And so, the key to breaking all of them is also a single word: intentionality. It is the ability to pause, reflect, and make a conscious choice instead of reacting on instinct. It is the sword you use to slay these dragons. It is the compass you use to reorient your life. Change begins with awareness. Now that you can see the walls of the prison, you have the power to break them down. If you found these lessons useful, please hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and be sure to subscribe for more valuable content. Because ultimately, that's how your inner compass works. Thank you for listening.